So, once again, we are back at your place, Mark.
Yeah.
So, last time we didn't make a video about this car. So, what is this for a kind of Renault?
It's a Renault Sport Spider. It's built in 1997 and it's the first ever car produced by Renault Sport for the public. So this is what started all the Rarest, Meganes and Clios. This is the granddad of all of them. And they went mental with this first car because they wanted to make a one make race series car. And they realized that the car was really cool. So they decided to make road cars. They made about 1,000 of them in total. There's only 68 that have the steering on the wrong side. Yeah, it's just a super rare late 90s French crazy analog machine.
So you said this is a granddaddy of the Renault Sport. So what engine is it?
It's a Clio Williams 2 litre naturally aspirated. It's only 150 horsepower, but the car only weighs 865 kilos. But the party piece for this car, with anyone who knows Renault Sport will agree, is the handling. So it doesn't have lots of power, but because it's got basically Formula One style suspension, it's all inboard suspension, and it's a solid aluminium welded chassis and fiberglass panels and everything, and the engine is mounted on an oscillating hinge like in an aeroplane, so there's no vibration from the engine, there's no engine movement, and all of these things together, there's no power steering, there's no assisted brakes, there's no heater, there's no stereo, there's no roof. It's just four wheels and an engine and a driver. So it makes it really special to drive, and like a go-kart, when you come up to a corner, you don't have to lift off or brake because it has the ability just to go flat through. Like the under the car is flat too. It's all flat bottom, so
nice.
It handles like a dream. We went to Rarest in September last year on a Renault day, and nobody had ever taken a Spider there, which was fun, and it was keeping up with the new Alpine on the racetrack.
Nice.
Overtaking some of them. So I was very surprised because on the street it doesn't make any sense, because you're either too hot because the radiator is here, or you're too cold because the car's not warmed up and there's no roof. But on a racetrack with the non-assisted brakes, with the non-assisted steering, with the suspension, everything just clicks, and you're just like, wow, it's such a shame Renault Sport doesn't exist anymore, because they knew how to make something special. You go.
Yeah. So how did you get this car then?
I've had about 8 Renault Sport cars. I've had a Twizy, I've had a few Meganes, I've had several Clios, and I had a Clio V6 trophy race car.
Ooh.
Sequential gearbox, everything. I bought it in Denmark and shipped it to England and never drove it. I owned it 3 years and never drove it once. It spent 3 years on a ramp being fixed. But when I decided enough was enough and I couldn't put any more money into it, this car, which was blue, that colour there, came up for sale, and they never come up for sale. Like, you can never see these things to buy. So I went to see it and I was cheeky with the price, and the guy was like, okay, you seem like a decent person, you seem like you're honest, etc. So, okay, you can have it at that price. And I said, I've got to sell a Clio V6, which is hard because nobody wants them. But somebody came along and bought the Clio V6 and gave me a Clio in exchange to sell. But it gave me enough money to buy this. So I bought it just as COVID hit.
Oh.
And it lived at a garage in England for about a month. I moved to Sweden and it was still in England, and I managed to find someone to drive it on a trailer to Sweden.
Oh, nice.
And it's been with me again, like the Evo that we did in the previous video. I'll never sell this car. It's like it's too special. And now it's been resprayed in QNC Trophy White, which is a Renault Sport colour. It's the only one in the world that's this colour.
Nice.
And I just love when it came from the paint shop, which is up the road. And I was thinking, I resprayed like a really rare car, a different colour. Oh my God, what are people going to think? and when we took the cover off it, I was just like, holy shit, it should have been this colour from the start.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect.
So which is the standard color? Is it blue? Like you
said?
It's
this blue.
It's that blue, okay.
Yeah.
I actually think this looks better.
Yeah.
To be honest.
They're always two-tone, so they're always gunmetal and another colour. Yeah. But this was blue and gunmetal, and I said to him, "Can you respray the gunmetal and change the blue?" And the dealer at I must say hello to Johan in Uddevalla, at the brand dealer for Renault. He was the guy who said to me, "Why don't you do it trophy white?" Yeah. And I was like, "That's a great idea. It's a Renault colour. I keep it Renault, and it's a metallic colour. So in the light, if you see it, it's got like pearl in it. He just nailed it."
I noticed the rims here.
Yep.
They're not standard either, right?
No.
So could you tell us a little bit about the rims maybe?
So my thing with cars is always about saving weight. Like every car I have, I always strip out the sound deadening. I always take out the radio. This car didn't have one. And I always fit the lightest wheels that I can buy. And the wheels that are on this car, like most kind of manufactured wheels like your Skoda, they sit too far in. Yeah. And I agree. You want to get a better offset, so it pulls it out. Nobody made wheels for this car because the offset is plus 37 on the front, 7 inches wide. Whoa. plus 10 on the rear, 9 inches wide. Yeah. So I had to get BC, who also make the coilovers. Yeah. They make forged wheels, but they make any spec. So you basically say to them, I want 6-spoke wheel, I want deep dish, I want it to be concave, and I want this offset, and I want this bolt pattern. And they send you a form where you measure all the calipers and everything, and then they say, give me money, and what colour do you want them? You can have any colour you want, and then that's it. But it was very nerve-wracking. It took me about 6 months to pick the wheels because you can't send them back. Because they're custom made. Yeah, so true. I wanted to make sure that the colour matched the body, and I wanted to make sure that the deep dish on the rear looked okay with the non-deep dish on the front. And when I fit them on the car, it's like, they work. Yeah, so very lucky.
Yeah, they look really awesome, actually.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, and the best thing is they only weigh 7.2 kilos.
That's not much.
So this car needs everything you can do to this car to gain power. You need to do, because you can't do anything to the engine. It's like, it's too expensive to fit cams. Is about £9,000 to do cams, and it'll give you 10 horsepower. Or where the Evo, you can spend 500 kroner and get like 50 horsepower. Yeah. So
yeah, the engine is quite special also.
Yeah.
Like,
it is, yeah.
You have done some things to.
Yeah, I have.
To the rear here. Could you tell us a little bit about that as well?
So I wanted to tune it, but I wanted to keep it. I wanted to keep it as factory as I could, but because they have a race car, I managed to find. I don't know how. There was a guy in France selling the trophy. So this is the trophy race car airbox. So I managed to buy the airbox, and that obviously came with the engine lid, which has got the scoops for the airbox. On the race car has a sequential gearbox, which I would love, but it has a cooler for the gearbox that sits here. Yeah. That's the other scoop. So I thought, well, what can I fit here? Or I'll fit a catch can for the oil, because it's an old car. Yeah. It's getting oil in the engine. And then I managed to buy the trophy exhaust. So this is the Orbisound. So it's handmade exhaust in France, and it took 9 months for the guy to make the exhaust. Whoa! And because it's made of Inconel, I think it is. Yeah. When it came, it was shiny silver, and every time I drive it, it gets more and more blue. and purple. So it just keeps changing colour like all the time. So it used to all be this colour, and now
Whoa!
it's slowly
Yeah,
it's turning.
quite big difference there, for sure.
Yeah.
And I also noticed this coils is not standard either, right?
No, so there's a guy in Switzerland called Arno, and he has one of these cars,
Yeah.
and he's also got a Clio V6, and he's also got a Megane. He's like a Renault Sport madman, but he works for Porsche, so he does a lot of Porsche Cup tuning things, I think. You can't buy suspension for this car. So the problem with this car is, because it's so rare, there's nobody making parts for it because nobody would buy them.
Yeah.
So everything has to be custom made. So I spoke to Arno and I said, this car sits too high. It's like a beach buggy. I get a nosebleed every time I get in it. Can you do something? And he said, I want suspension for my car. So if I make 2 sets and you buy 1 set, then it's kind of worth it, sort of. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. So again, he basically custom made the suspension for it. It took him 9 months to make.
Damn.
But again, I could have any colour I wanted.
Yeah.
And because I was the first person, as far as I'm aware, this is the only set in the world. Nobody else has got this.
Nice.
So this is like the prototype set.
Yeah.
And because of that, he said you can have any colour you want. So no one else can buy this colour. Only I can have this colour because I was the first customer.
So what's the color code?
It's the yellow, anodized yellow,
Yeah.
which is the liquid gold, like Renault Sport colour.
Ah.
And it's the black, so this is the Renault Formula 1 colours.
Ah, makes sense.
Basically,
Makes sense.
yeah. And again, I took, if you ever speak to Arno, not that you probably would, but he got so annoyed with me because I took about 2 months to decide on the colour, and I was in Photoshop changing the colours of a photo of the car, and I was like to my girlfriend, what do you think about blue? What do you think about grey? And everybody got so fed up with me, and in the end I said, oh, yellow and black, just do that, and then luckily it looks okay.
Yeah, it looks really great.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you want to say to the people that are watching this time around?
Again, I would say, like, probably something that I would say is that I think in today's cars, everything is digital, and human beings, we're not digital, we're analog, and we need to feel things and we need to experience things, and modern cars don't do that. So modern cars don't interest me anymore because they're like a copy of something that somebody thinks something should be.
Yeah.
Whereas this car is just what it is. It's not filtered. So I would say to anyone who likes cars, try to drive older cars to experience what cars used to be like, because they are so different to modern cars.
Yeah.
And to me, they're more fun. But if you've never driven one, you don't realise. So yeah, I would say drive older cars and see what they feel like.
So Mark, are you with me on this? Bring back manuals.
Yeah. Keep manuals. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I still drive automatic, but I do it for the comfort. But the car that I'm actually will be getting, it's a manual.
Yeah. No.
So and it's old 90s car as well.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got so much character.
Yeah.
Rather than the new cars, I think.
And I again, maybe my age, but for me growing up, 90s was the era of car, and I don't want modern cars. So the other car that I bought, that maybe you'll see at some point, the Nissan, it's a 90s car. Yeah. It's like, I don't want modern cars. Like my last modern car was a M3, which was like 2003, and it didn't excite me.
Yeah,
whereas all cars do.
Yeah.
So
I have to agree on that as well. I don't know how many of you have watched my videos, but I think the Audi, I might get some shit for this, but I think the Audi R8 is so dull to drive. It's like, yeah, sure, it's fun and it handles really good, but it has no soul at all.
No.
It's kind of like boring in that way.
I may say something controversial as well, which is the GR Yaris.
Yeah.
I heard all the crazy feedback that it was getting, that it's the greatest car ever made and you know, it's a wonderful machine.
Yeah.
And I drove one to see what it was like. It was terrible, because like they're pumping the sound of the engine through the stereo.
What?
And you think like, just have a better engine, just have a better exhaust.
Yeah.
Just don't fake that. And that's what I said about analog. It's like, don't fake things. Just let's bring it. So let's save the manual.
Yeah.
But I also say save the analog.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
So we will end there. Bring more analog cars back.
And more manuals.
Yeah, more manuals, and drive some old cars. I know I drive everything from new cars to old cars, but still, like, I agree with Mark here. So thank you so much for letting me stay here and watch all of your cool cars.
Thank you.
And we have a lot more to cover from Mark as well. So because we are not done here.
No.
So I say bye-bye.
Hey
and to everyone watching the video, hey do, take care, have it awesome, you all matters, and I want you all to give a special big thumbs up, a like of course, to Mark, since he's such a humble and nice and really cool dude.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm always being honest, and yeah, people are watching. I think you already know Mark. This is second time meeting Mark, so he kind of is aware of it. So bye bye.
Bye.
All these brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die.